The Postgraduate and Undergraduate Toolkits, innovative South African learning resources to empower students and enhance throughput rates at higher education institutions. Presented by Dr. Layla Cassim. Please note that although these toolkits center the voices and experiences of South African and African researchers and students, they cover generic principles that can easily be applied to users in other countries and settings as well. The Academy of Sciences of South Africa in 2010 identified key challenges experienced by postgraduate students, resulting in high attrition rates. These include inadequate support, supervision-related problems, and pipeline constraints. The role of undergraduate degrees in preparing students for postgraduate research and the world of work is critical. South Africa has one of the lowest undergraduate graduation rates globally, Lawrence 2020. To address this problem, we have developed innovative, user-friendly learning resources that cover a range of academic concepts and holistically address quality of life challenges that may undermine academic success. The Postgraduate Toolkit has 988 written pages. These include 10 chapters covering the entire research process. There are 25 hours of voice recordings in different file formats for accessibility. These include narrated PowerPoint slides, audio files, and MP4 video files. There are also 48 practical exercises. The Postgraduate Toolkit begins with an introduction to research and how to write a research proposal. Key learning outcomes include the following. Understand the historical, philosophical, international, and national contexts in which we do research. Appreciate the significance of ethical considerations in guiding the research process. Recognize the importance of critical, reflective, and self-reflexive thinking in research. Narrow down the scope of your research project and justify how you have done so. Understand the importance of a well-conceptualized research proposal in guiding the successful execution of the research project. Understand how the golden thread links the key components of the research project. Develop a clear research question that will drive the whole project and from which all the other components of the proposal flow. Develop a Gantt chart to holistically cover all the key activities involved in the research project. Conduct an in-depth risk analysis to identify risk factors that could undermine the successful execution of the project, as well as develop contingency plans to address these. And write a comprehensive, detailed research proposal that meets your university's requirements. Chapter 2 then covers how to apply for funding. Key learning outcomes include the following. Identify a wide range of possible funders for your research project. Understand the importance of there being alignment between your project and the strategic priorities of the funder. Understand key requirements that funders and review panels would have when evaluating funding applications. Appreciate the significance of eligibility criteria when applying for funding. Recognize the potential weaknesses and subjectivity in review processes. Appreciate the importance of a good contract with a funder that protects your rights and independence as a researcher. Identify the similarities and differences between an academic research proposal and a funding application. Complete a comprehensive Tutuka application form to apply for National Research Foundation funding. Complete a detailed, realistic budget that considers the hidden costs of the research project and in which each line item is justified. And complete a detailed project management plan that can be included as an appendix to your funding application. Chapter 3 focuses on research design and methodology, which is a topic that many researchers struggle with. This is the longest chapter in the Postgraduate Toolkit. Key learning outcomes include the following. Define what research design and methodology is and why careful planning is such a key component of this. Appreciate the importance of effective record keeping. Identify different types of data, primary and secondary, quantitative and qualitative, the advantages and disadvantages of each, and explain why you have chosen a particular type of data. Understand 18 commonly used research methods as well as their subtypes across a range of disciplines and how to choose the most appropriate method or methods for your research. Explain key concepts that examiners and reviewers are likely to raise, namely sampling error, sampling bias, non-sampling error, reliability, validity, and trustworthiness, and what measures you are taking to address each of these. Justify your choice of sample size and sampling technique. Conduct a pilot test correctly. Justify your choice of data analysis methods. Have a basic understanding of some key principles in descriptive and inferential statistical analysis. Perform content analysis on qualitative data. And write up a well-structured and soundly conceptualized research design and methodology chapter. Chapter 4 covers thesis writing. Key learning outcomes include the following. Have a good writing and editing strategy or routine in place that allows you to complete your thesis in a reasonable amount of time. Choose the most appropriate thesis structure for your kind of research. Write each of the chapters or sections within the thesis in a detailed way that shows the logical unfolding of your research question and the golden thread. Write a high-quality literature review that shows an in-depth critical engagement with the views of various experts and scholars. Understand what a theoretical framework is, where it goes in the thesis, the importance of being able to justify why you have chosen a particular theoretical framework, and how to adapt or combine theoretical frameworks to suit your context. Identify the difference between a full thesis and a mini thesis or research report. Comply with your university's requirements of your thesis as well as requirements for the thesis submission process. Understand what examiners will be looking for when marking your thesis and what the thesis examination process entails. Avoid common mistakes in academic writing. Improve your basic reading and comprehension skills. Know the difference between thesis writing, scientific writing, and popular writing for the media. And understand the structure and writing style used for the legal thesis. Chapter 5 focuses on how to write and publish an academic paper. Key learning outcomes include the following. Understand the various reasons for why it is important to publish a paper. Be aware of the significance of publishing books in your career. Decide on the scope of your paper. Be able to select an appropriate journal for the paper you are writing. Be aware of different kinds of papers, such as review articles, protocol papers, and original research papers. Be able to write an original research paper. Have a structured approach to writing a systematic review article. Submit a paper to a journal. Address reviewers' feedback and be aware of what happens in the peer review process. And appreciate the importance of ethical considerations in research. Oral and poster presentations of the research are covered in Chapter 6. Key learning outcomes include the following. Know when you will be presenting your research. Understand the importance of communicating your research to a wider audience. Identify the conferences you would like to attend for the duration of your research project. Appreciate the role of adequate planning when preparing your oral or poster presentation. Be able to present your work on an online platform at a webinar, online conference, or thesis defense. Deliver a short oral presentation on your research. Design a poster that succinctly summarizes your project, and know the kinds of questions that audience members are likely to ask you about your research and be able to respond to these. Chapter 7 highlights project management principles in research. Key learning outcomes include the following. Identify the key characteristics of all research projects. List the stakeholders that you need in order for your research project to be completed successfully and manage these relationships. Appreciate the important role played by the library at your university. Set the boundaries of your research project. Plan carefully for the research project. Appreciate the significance of understanding the context in which you are doing the research. Know how to complete your research project within your time frames and budget and to the required quality specifications, and complete a detailed project management plan that will guide you throughout your research project. Chapter 8 covers self-empowerment tools and support systems for postgraduate success. Key learning outcomes include the following. Identify quality of life challenges that may undermine your progress in completing your research project. Develop a writing schedule with targets to work consistently on your thesis. Have sound time management strategies in place to use your limited time more efficiently and effectively, and for you to balance your different commitments. Seek psychological help if you need to in order to address a personal problem. Appreciate the importance of self-care on a daily basis. Activate the right side of your brain and do something creative every day. Improve your interpersonal communication by using the Johari window. Identify blind spots that you may have as a researcher. Determine whether there are factors that undermine your motivation to continue with your research project and how to address these. And recommend strategies to your human resources department on what your organization can do to better support employees who are studying. Chapter 9 zooms in on the student-supervisor relationship, which is often a contentious issue. Key learning outcomes include the following. Know how to choose an appropriate supervisor. Define mentorship and why it is important for supervisors to be good mentors. Differentiate between mentorship and coaching. Be able to assess your dominant mentoring or learning style. Understand the concept of the emotional bank account. Know the key roles and responsibilities of the supervisor and student. Identify your frames of reference and core values. Manage potential conflict between you and your supervisor. Complete a mentoring pledge with your supervisor. Complete a progress report after each progress meeting with your supervisor. And identify the different components of a performance management system in academia and how each of these would need to be adapted to ensure better postgraduate supervision. The final chapter of the Postgraduate Toolkit introduces students to our personal and professional development contract and self-employment as a career option. Key learning outcomes include the following. Identify your short, medium, and long-term research goals and break down each of these goals into practical activities. Share the above research goals with your supervisor, receive feedback on these, and use these research goals and activities as a yardstick against which to assess your performance. Determine goals in other aspects of your life, both personally and professionally. Complete the Personal and Professional Development Contract, PDC. Use the PDC as a career development and self-empowerment tool. Take ownership of achieving your personal and professional goals. Appreciate the importance of self-employment as a career option in today's world. Know how to start your own business. Understand key success factors that can contribute to the long-term success and sustainability of your business, and identify strategies that small businesses can use to survive in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. A sample of endorsements and testimonials is also included. Both toolkits contribute to information literacy by empowering students to know how and where to access academic and other resources that will assist them in completing their degrees, thereby enhancing throughput rates. Thank you.